Hello, my name is Lydia. I'm the test lead at All Time Cool. I started my career in the industry as a test manager with Ericsson 14 years ago now, and I came into testing because I was a curious person by nature, and this has led to learning many exciting things about technology. So I started out doing some IP testing because this is what I started doing even um, before I started out my career with Ericsson. I had an opportunity to learn about IP, and that gave me a springboard into my career in the tech industry. So today I'll be talking to you about working as a test manager. I'll be explaining briefly about the test management process, the benefits of testing, the career paths available in test management, and how you can use this to build transferable skills. So just to share a bit of my personal experience, I got into testing as a bit of an accident. It doesn't need to be the same for you. So when I joined Ericsson as a graduate many years ago, I started off in the test and verification team, which was quite fortunate because it aligned with my nature as a curious person and needing to be hands-on with a lot of things. So I love working in lab environments, and that's something I discovered in the course of my career. And I hope with this video, you can take a bit more deliberate actions than I did to get yourself a career into testing. So just to start, I would like to explain what test management is. So test management is a systemic process of arranging activities in the delivery of software quality assurance. So when you think about any product in the world, whether it's a phone, the dress I'm wearing, the software I'm using to communicate this session to you, everything goes through a testing process. And it's basically a process of planning the activities, monitoring the activities, controlling the activities, managing risks, building test environments, executing tests, and of course, closing of all of those activities at the end. The main purpose of testing and test management is to be able to answer that question of whether a product or a solution is fit for purpose. And when you think about products, again, a product can be anything as simple as a dress, as you would say, or anything as complicated as the applications we use on our phones for work or for play. So again, the benefits of testing are there are manifold, and most importantly, it's a mechanism of reducing risk, and it's a mechanism of assuring any product that is used either by people or maybe things to do with safety. So there are many elements to testing. And if I were to say the one single reason why testing is beneficial is to remove risk and to remove harm, because some applications say think of the aerospace industry, for example. So if something's not right on the plane, the outcome can be catastrophic. Of course, you don't compare that to the level of assurance needed to validate a dress, for example. They're quite different, but all of these aspects of life share that common facets of needing to be tested. So businesses get value for money. So businesses get the validation that any products or services they're putting out meet the customer's requirements. So again, think of any industry, whether you're looking at financial services, or you're looking at the technology industry, or you're looking at fashion, there's an element of testing in everything, and it's a core part of business processes. So thinking about different career paths available in testing. So my background is a telecommunications and technical background, so I'm going to lean on that. So there are many jobs you can do as a tester. So most people would typically start as test engineers, and being a test engineer means you're someone who knows the technology, you're someone who enjoys getting into the detail with things. So if, for example, you are interested in code development and application, that is something you can test it at a unit test level, or at a systems level, or at an integration level. So there are different levels you can look at that. But the essential thing is that you come in as someone who looks at the code, who executes commands and provide output, so people can take the next steps in a decision in as part of the larger product life cycle process. So that's in summary what a test engineer does. You can also be a test analyst. A test analyst is someone who would look at both technical and business requirements and link that into the work of the testing that needs to be executed to validate those requirements. So test analysts would be having the job of reviewing the requirements, looking into what scenarios can be planned out, what environment is needed to test those scenarios out to confirm that the right level of specification is written to cover the requirements, or to cover any risks that have been identified in as part of that project delivery. You can also be a test manager. So of course, a test manager is that person who has the end-to-end accountability for the planning process, for the analysis and the design process, for the monitoring and control of any issues that come up during the execution of that project. And of course, the person who is ultimately accountable for the end-to-end delivery of the testing process. So there are standardized training you can have. So ISTQB have different levels of specializations you can apply if you wanted to follow a career in testing. So everybody as a baseline starts off with a foundation in testing. So it used to be called ISEP many years ago, but it's now the ISTQB foundation in test management. And of course, using that foundation as a basis, there are different tracks you can evolve your career in test to. So you can either decide to go in the test management track. So you've got the advanced level of test management qualifications, which I hold, and you can decide you want to progress to an expert level of test management qualification. There's also the technical test analyst development tracks. Of course, you start out at foundation level, and then you can progress to a technical analyst for an advanced and an expert level. Alongside, more recently, there are also tracks available in the automation space. There are tracks in the agile development space as well. If you want to do more development focused kind of testing, then that career track is available. The one thing I like about a career in testing is that the skills you build are transferable. You get a good view because of the interactions you have in the testing space of what's going on in other sides of the business. So you would interact with people from design, you would interact with people from customer support, and then you'll be able to broaden that scope of engagement in the business, not only within the testing space, but in the other facets of the business. So any skill you develop in the testing space is certainly something you would find is transferable. And one area where a lot of test managers look to take their careers to is around project management, because indeed testing is a form of project management itself. So you can decide to build wider project management skills, on the skills you have built in as a testing engineer, if that's what you want to do. And another potential career track for people who have worked in testing is to look into go into more design architecture roles, because again, being in test gives a really solid understanding of the code and underlying infrastructure, and that can also be a good basis to build on a design or architect kind of career. So that's in a nutshell what my experience primarily of working as a test manager is. And just to recap again, testing and test management is a systematic process of organizing test activities that is geared towards validating whether a specific product or solutions meet the requirements, and of course, as an extension, whether that product is free of any risks and issues that may be catastrophic to the end users. So testing is something that is beneficial across many industries. So whether you're looking at working in a technology, telecommunications background, other sort of infrastructure, maybe in the energy industry, or maybe in the financial industry as well, testing and test management is something you would find across all industries, and it's worth looking further to see if this is where you want to grow your career. Again, what do you need to develop into a test manager? From my experience, I would say the most important thing is to have a curious nature and be willing to get your teeth stuck in the detail. Completing the ISTQB foundation doesn't require a university degree. So if you find that you are maybe coming off A levels and you wanted to look to do this is something you can do. Those options are open for you. The one thing I would say, of course, being a technically minded person, is for you to choose your technology of interest. So if you're interested in coding, for example, and you want to go into the testing and development of codes, and it'd be good to get a good understanding of what that baseline technology is, and then you can overlap your test management skills on top of that. So I would always advocate for understanding more about the technology you want to work in before you start to build on the management aspects of it, because that will give you a more solid grounding in your career as you progress. And again, in terms of formal training and development to be a test manager, again, the development tracks I listed from the foundation, analysts, expert level, they're all included in the ISTQB syllabus. So if you simply Google ISTQB, you get all of the information. And of course, as I said, everyone starts out at foundation level, and this is a good training to understand what the basic process, what the different test levels are, what the different activities are in the testing space you have to manage. And yeah, I would say just in summary that this is a great place to start a career. There are lots of things to learn if you're a curious person, and there are lots of opportunities to grow your career. So thank you for listening, and I hope this session was useful for you.